I'm Paul Perkins with the check of your ag weather. After one last afternoon of widespread highs in the low to mid-50s for several days, numerous disturbances lead to highs dropping to more seasonal levels in the upper 30s to the mid-40s for tomorrow through the weekend. Southern Nebraska and northern Kansas may see some light rain or snow tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Any rain amounts expected to range from a trace to a tenth of an inch with no snow accumulation. Saturday through Saturday night, rain and snow is more likely over Kansas, but some rain and snow could move into portions of southern Nebraska. The higher chances for light snow accumulations favor western Kansas. A light dusting to a half inch is possible across north central Kansas. Dry weather returns the early to middle part of next week as a ridge of high pressure taps into milder Pacific air. Highs warm up from the mid to upper 40s on Monday to around 50 on Wednesday. There are signs of even cooler temperatures in the long-term forecast. Seasonal or near normal temperatures are likely for Nebraska and Kansas the mid to late part of next week before a trend of slightly cooler than normal temperatures next weekend through February 21st. Near normal precipitation is indicated for Nebraska and Kansas the mid to late part of next week. By next weekend through February 21st, slightly above normal precipitation is predicted for Nebraska and Kansas. In the regional drought monitor, Nebraska improved 3 percentage points to 64% drought-free. It remains drought-free in much of the central, western, and northeast corner of Nebraska. Much of southwest Nebraska is abnormally dry. Moderate to severe drought continues in much of east central and eastern Nebraska, or locations along the southeast of a line from Wayne to Albion and St. Paul. Kansas improved 3 percentage points to 36% drought-free. It's drought-free to abnormally dry in much of western, central, and southeast Kansas. Moderate to severe drought is found in much of east central and northeastern Kansas, along with areas from Atwood to Norton, south to Waukene, and in the southeast in a stretch from Garnet to Sedan. Less than 1% of Kansas is in extreme to excessive drought, and that includes locations along the Rooks and Graham County line. Key weather factors in the markets include a cooler trend with several storms moving through the U.S., rain for central Brazil, and a return of rain improving Argentina crop conditions. Snow ends today across the north central U.S. as the storm lifts into Canada. Late week and weekend rain across the southern and eastern U.S. as well as the lower Midwest could total 1 to 2 inches or more, mostly from eastern Texas to the mid-Atlantic coast. Precipitation may end as snow early next week from portions of the central and southern plains into the lower Midwest. An extended run of warm weather in the central U.S. gradually ends. That starts with cooler conditions across the northern plains and upper Midwest. In central Brazil, scattered rain continues through the weekend and becomes more isolated next week. Despite the recent rain, there are still significant rainfall deficits in central Brazil, and soil moisture is still not favorable for second crop corn that's being planted. Heavy rain is needed in the next 2 months in central Brazil to produce a good crop of the second crop corn. Argentina finally seeing good rains in many areas that are likely to continue through the weekend, possibly lingering into next week. Heavy rain is needed in Argentina to reverse the effects of more than 2 weeks of dry weather and a week of 100-degree heat. With the check of your ag weather, I'm Paul Perkins.